This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous. Your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here. You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like a child when you see me standing here. Now I'm standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg, and alongside with me, as always, is my partner, Steve Riddle. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back here as we continue our trek through, as we're getting close to the end of 2007, and it's been quite the year for not just ECW, but for WWE as a whole.
Yeah, and for tonight, we're not sandwiched. We're 2 shows in before the next pay-per-view, and lo and behold, it's it's like already time for another pay-per-view as well. As when we're done with our second episode, it will be No Mercy the following Sunday as well in 2007, where CM Punk will face the number one contender of the Elimination Chase tournament here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tonight it's ECW September 25th, 2007. We're live in Indianapolis here tonight. We start off actually with the Elimination Chase triple threat match here. It's Elijah Burke, Tommy Dreamer, and Kevin Thorne. As we know, last week Steven Richards was the one who took the pin, so he is eliminated from the Elimination Chase, and we have our 3 remaining competitors here tonight. Thorne throws Tommy to the outside. A hip toss to Thorne. Thorne throws Tommy into the ring post. Drop kick to Thorne. Multiple pin attempts by all 3 men. Burke goes to the outside. Bulldog to Thorne. Drop kick to Thorne. Backbreaker to Burke. Clothesline by Burke. Tree of Woe by Tommy. A neckbreaker to Thorne. DDT to Kevin Thorne. But then Elijah Burke, again, he throws Tommy Dreamer to the outside, and he gets the cover for the 1, 2, 3. So Kevin Thorne is now eliminated. Twice in a row, Burke has been the one to get the pin covers, and his theme music is getting played as well. For this matchup, I went 2.5, Steve. It was very, very good.
Yeah, I went 2 1/4. It was a kind of fine little triple threat. I am glad that because usually when it comes to triple threats, when there's 2 heels and a face, the trope is that the heels will double team the face for the majority of the match, but that didn't happen here. It was pretty even sided between all three of the guys. So I at least appreciate that they did that. Dreamer again rocking the do-rag, which still looks really weird on him, but then of course I realize why is because that bald spot in his head is really getting noticeable. So I understand why he wanted to cover it up. Thorne to me looked like there was a couple times, especially early on in the match, where it looked like he had no clue what was going on. He was like looking around, almost like he was waiting for like somebody to come to him, or he seemed kind of lost to begin with. And then eventually, as the match goes on, his outfit starts getting like torn apart. Like he loses his tie, his vest comes open. He looked like a disheveled mess at one point. So they did eventually clear get cooking really down the home stretch, and then like you said, Dreamer hits the DDT on Thorne, but Burke steals the win, like you said, for the second week in a row. So we got a pretty obvious final 2 here. I think when we started this thing last week, I think it was kind of obvious that it was going to come down to Dreamer and Burke.
Yep. I would have been surprised if it would come down to like Thorne and Dreamer, and they were just like, let's eliminate Elijah. But I knew it was going to come down to Burke and Dreamer. Like it always seemed like that was the plan, and we'll see what happens next week as those two will meet in the finals here. Punk is backstage. He runs into Striker and Big Daddy V. And then now we have Nunzio versus Mike Knox. Knox tosses Nunzio to the outside, a backbreaker to Nunzio, leg drop to Nunzio, kicks to Knox, and then a bicycle kick to Nunzio for the win. For this matchup, I went 1.25 stars. This match was all right, but the crowd is just dead when it comes to Mike Knox. They do not care about Knox at all.
Yeah, I went 0.5 star on this one. Pretty much a squash here for Knox. Nunzio gets a few shots in at like the leg, but pretty much Knox destroys him. Kind of weird again after trading wins with Balls Mahoney the last 2 weeks. Now they give Knox a random squash here. So I don't know. Still do not know really what to do with him.
No, but and he's just like being like the crowd's just really silent on him. Like it's not that he's green, like he's got some moves, but the crowd could just really care less about him. Speaking of the crowd, did you notice the front row of the hard cam was like a bunch of like teenagers, and it seemed like they took their grandmas to the ECW show, ECW and SmackDown show on this night, because it looked like this kid was like, "Hey grandma, you want to go to wrestling?" It looked like a bunch of teenagers took their grandmothers to this show, basically. I don't know if you saw that, but I was laughing. I was like, it looks like this kid took his grandma to the show.
No, I missed that. I wasn't paying that close attention. But if I go back and watch the episode again, I'll have to see if I noticed that.
Yeah, it looked like this one kid like who had like really like big curly hair, like just took his grandma to the show. It was like there's a lot of like senior citizens in the front row for ECW. It's like, oh god, these two ladies are like, what the heck is this? It was so weird. So now we have the Miz. We're doing like match after match after match here. We have the Miz, and he takes on a jobber named Silas Young. Leg sweep by Miz, clothesline in the corner, and a reality check to Young for the win. For this matchup, I gave it 0.5 star. They've been trying to like project the Miz to like be this cool, cocky heel, but they're giving him a terrible like opponent. They couldn't give him anybody else, so they just give him like this no-name jobber. It is what it is. I went 0.5 star.
Yeah, I went 0.5 star too. Of course, Silas Young, future Ring of Honor TV champion down the road. So obviously, people have bigger things for him. But yeah, pretty much again, just another squash here to establish Miz and this, as we'll see here following the match, this continuing angle between him, Balls Mahoney, and Kelly.
Yeah, as Balls Mahoney then comes to the ring, Balls asks Kelly on a date. Miz says that Kelly will give him an answer, but then Miz actually takes the microphone and bashes Balls' head with it as they leave again, and the saga continues, basically. It's like, do something.
Right now it's getting to a point where it's like you gotta, fully commit or somehow get out of it. By the way, did you notice the Kelly had the teddy bear and had like a Balls Mahoney shirt on this time? So I don't know if she had that last week, but yeah, just again, Balls asks her out. Miz, interrupts, doesn't let her answer. Then, like you say, Cole cocks Balls with a mic. So yeah, but yeah, we're getting to a point where it's like, you got to, make a decision here.
Yeah, it's like either pull the trigger, say no, or move on from this storyline completely, because we're getting tired of it. The fans are getting tired of it as well. It's been like going on for like a month and a half, basically. Speaking of like another thing too, like going back to Mike Knox here, Joey Styles, all he does is just bring up the fact that Mike Knox was the former boyfriend of Kelly Kelly, and it's like that's bad for Knox because that's all he has, and it's like that's not going to help him.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to reestablish this guy, and yet you keep, you bury him on commentary, like you said. Like the only thing that was interesting about it was Kelly, and now that he doesn't have that anymore, he's just some, just random guy. It's like, it's like there's like 100 guys just like him at this point. So yeah, way to really put him over.
That's like saying, oh, well, there's Mark Merrow. Oh, there's Sable. Oh boy, Sable. Yeah, but it's like, we don't need Mark Merrow. We just want Sable. Tommy and Elijah Burke are backstage. Burke says that he is better than Tommy in every aspect. He's stronger, he's smarter, he's faster and agile than Tommy is. But then Tommy says, but Burke, you don't have the ECW heart like I do. So we'll see what happens as these two meet next week to face CM Punk at No Mercy. What do you think of this little back and forth spit for spat with Tommy and Burke?
I mean, just again, basic stuff, like you said. Burke trying to say, he's better than Dreamer in every way, but Dreamer, countering, saying, he's always had the heart, which he says Burke doesn't have. So again, just basic stuff to build up for next week.
Yeah, and now we have our main event, as it is CM Punk versus Matt Striker, along with Big Daddy V. Punk sends Striker to the outside. Striker takes Punk's hand into the steps, clothesline to Punk, drop kick to Punk, running knee to Punk's face, kicks the Striker, backbreaker and bulldog by Punk, springboard clothesline, and then the GTS for the win. For this matchup, I went 2 stars, Steve. It was a good main event. Striker did give a good effort, but Punk gets the win here as well.
Yeah, I went 2 1/4 on this one as well. Again, like I said, solid outing for both guys. Striker, even though he was kind of really slowly transitioning to being more of a Big Daddy V's manager, can still, bring it into the ring. And obviously Punk's, on a big roll right now. So, good little back and forth between the two. I thought interesting for Striker to work on the arm for the majority of the match. That was kind of different. And then, then Punk comes back, hits the big GTS with the Striker doing the falling forward bump. Not usually something you see off when Punk does the GTS, but yeah, fine outing. And again, more just a setup for what's about to happen.
Yep, suddenly Big Daddy V gets into the ring and he attacks Punk. He gives him the Samoan drop as well to Punk. So Big Daddy V is standing tall with Striker, even though Punk beat Striker as well. So we'll see what happens next week on ECW. But it was a good triple threat match, and V now has the attention of CM Punk. He was trying to get it, and looks like he has Punk's attention now, Steve.
Right, which would be okay, except for the fact that you have this weeks long thing going on where you're determining a new number one contender, and yet Big Daddy V's nowhere involved in it. So it's like you got Punk and Big Daddy V clearly setting it up. Meanwhile, you have Dreamer and Burke now ready to face each other to determine who's going to get the title shot. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're and what happens at the end of our next show is going to get me a little confused on why they did it, like it seems like they're trying to work 2 storylines, and it's like, well, why are you having V attack Punk if he has to worry about a triple threat match? I mean, a number one contenders match for No Mercy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really weird.
Yep. So now we are going now to ECW October 2nd. We are in Dayton, Ohio. I don't know if you saw this on the Peacock, but it said former ECW champion John Morrison, like it said on the info for the show, and it got me wondering. I was like, oh, is his suspension over and he's coming back to ECW? But he's not even on the show here. I don't know if you saw that, but I did. I was like, oh, is his like 1 month suspension up? But he's not even on the show, Steve.
Yeah, I think I missed that one too. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, you've got I think we were getting to the point where most of these guys suspensions were coming up here, so they were going to be kind of filtering their way back into to TV here soon. But yeah, definitely weird, especially if they did, say ECW champion John Morrison, which is like he lost the belt like a month ago, right? So another kind of a little weird oversight there by the by the folks at Peacock putting the description together.
Yeah. So out actually comes Mr. McMahon, which I totally forgot. This was when John Cena got hurt, as he says Cena's injury, as Mr. McMahon announces Cena's injury. And then we see a recap of Randy Orton giving Cena an RKO. He announced there will be a new WWE champion at No Mercy. There was a pectoral tear, I believe, or the rotator cuff on the right side of Cena's shoulder totally tore itself up. And it said he would be out for 6 months to a year. And we know when he comes back to like one of the biggest pops ever in WWE history. But I totally forgot that this was the time when Cena got hurt, and this would actually change like the whole. This would kind of change the card at No Mercy, because you have Triple H versus Umaga in a matchup, and then I think there's supposed to be like a last man standing match, and then like with Cena's injury, I think it was actually supposed to be Randy Orton versus Cena in a last man standing match, if I'm not mistaken. So you had those two matches. But now, since Cena's out with the injury, the whole card like kind of changes as well on the Raw side of things.
Yeah, so it was his pec that he tore, similar to what happened to Cody Rhodes 2 years ago, prior to the Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins. So yeah, it was interesting that they kind of retconned it to where they said it was Orton that caused the injury, but really it was just after Cena was facing Mr. Kennedy in the match, and at one point I think he tried to do a hip toss, and that's when it happened. So Mr. Kennedy kind of took the blame for that one, even though probably could argue it wasn't really his fault. But yeah, they did a really good job, and really kind of put Orton over as the guy that took Cena out. I mean, I think Orton was probably going to win that match anyway and become champion. I think he was going to beat Cena at No Mercy with the way like the story was going. But yeah, really kind of a tough loss here, because like you had all these guys suspended, and right as they're about to come out, now you've just lost your number one guy for 6 months to a year. I mean, that's no small thing. So, like you said, the No Mercy card did get shaken up quite a bit because of it, and yeah, just again, a tough loss there for Cena.
Yep. Let's. I don't even know if I have the original card, but I do think it was supposed to be. Like I said, it was Triple H versus Umaga in the last man standing match, or it was going to be John Cena versus Randy Orton in the last man standing match. But again, with Cena getting injured, it was a long night for Triple H.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be Cena and Orton last man standing, and then Triple H and Umaga were just going to have a regular match.
Gotcha. So, so the card is a little flip-flopped, and I'm surprised that Mr. McMahon felt the need to announce it to the ECW and SmackDown crew as well. But again, I don't think the Raw crew knew what was going to happen. So it was like, well, now I got to make it live so that everybody knows that Cena's going to be injured at No Mercy and will not be able to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have CM Punk. He comes to the ring. Punk says he should be focused on the number one contender at No Mercy. And then he shows a recap of what happened to him last week on ECW. Punk says that Big Daddy V has his attention. Stryker interrupts him. Stryker says V wants the ECW title. And it's like, okay, well, get it some other time because we have a number one contenders matchup here tonight. And again, what are you, like, just throwing plans out the window and stuff, like at the writers' table? Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we said, just continuing the whole point here. It's like, I mean, Punk pretty much says it. I mean, he's like, yeah, I know I gotta, there's a number one contenders match, between Tommy Dreamer and Elijah Burke, but I'm more focused on Big Daddy V. It's like, what the hell?
Uh-huh. And then we have Punk versus Mike Knox. Again, the crowd does not care for Mike Knox, but they were quiet for Knox, but they enjoyed Punk here as well. Fireman's carry to Knox, drop kick to Punk, knees to Punk's back. Punk drop kicks Knox and a crossbody to the outside. Knox drops Punk on his throat. Huge clothesline by Knox. Running knee to Punk. Knox misses a bicycle kick and the GTS for the win. For this matchup, I went 1.5 stars, Steve. It was good, but again, crowd just does not care for Mike Knox. He only has like 3 moves, and he doesn't even get the bicycle kicks, but that turns into the GTS. So for this match, I went 1.5 stars.
I actually liked it a little bit more than you. Actually, again, went 2.25. That's what seems to be my go-to grade for these last 2 episodes. No, I thought it was a fine match. I mean, these two have, usually have pretty good chemistry. We see it again here. But again, like, what are we doing with Knox? I mean, we had him, split wins with Balls Mahoney. Then he gets a squash win over Nunzio last week, and now we're having him. He's putting over Punk this week in a fairly good match nonetheless. But still, it's like, what are we doing with him? If anything, again, just to kind of, gives Punk a good, non-title win to give him some momentum going into No Mercy, which, by the way, is going to be big for him because it's in, of course, his hometown of Chicago. So he's obviously going to have a huge home field advantage going in against whoever he does end up facing. So again, just a solid win for Punk as he kind of, now waits to see who's going to face. But again, what are we doing here with Mike Knox?
And again, I think Joey Styles was like, "Oh, Mike Knox and CM Punk had beef back in 2000, like the early days of ECW on Sci-Fi because of Kelly. Kelly, looked like Kelly was going to dump Knox for Punk, and stuff like that. It's like, dude, this is not helping."
Yeah, I don't even know if I can't remember if we even got a proper blow off for that. I think it just kind of got that angle just got dropped.
Right after Survivor Series 06, it was like, "Oh, this is done." So then we have highlights of Tommy Dreamer and ECW. This is a great highlight video package. All of Tommy's accomplishments. He does win the ECW title in the year 2000, only to lose it maybe a week later or the same night to Just Incredible as well. But Tommy Dreamer has done a lot for the ECW company, and he's still wrestling for the ECW brand. So very good package here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually do a pretty good job highlighting Dreamer's career from the original ECW even to today.
Yep. And now we have Balls Mahoney. He comes to the ring. He still wants an answer from Kelly if she will go out with him on a date. Kelly comes to the ring, and Kelly says yes. But then The Miz comes to the ring. He calls Balls Mahoney a fat slob. Balls punches Miz. Miz says he owns Extreme Expose. And then Miz threatens to fire Kelly, which causes Kelly to burst into tears, crying. And she basically apologizes to Balls Mahoney. And she leaves with The Miz and Extreme Expose. So hopefully this is the end of the Balls Mahoney Kelly saga, because it's just been going on for way too long.
Yeah, like you said, we finally get the answer. Kelly says that she'll go on the date with him, and then we kind of get the little plot twist there where Miz says that he owns the contracts of Extreme Expose. So he does, like you say, he threatens to fire Kelly. I'm almost kind of thinking that this may lead to maybe like one more match between Balls and Miz, where say like if Balls wins, then Kelly gets freed of the contract. But if Miz wins, then Kelly and Balls have to like stay apart forever. So maybe that's where we're going with this finally, is to kind of get like one final match between these two, and then we can finally kind of like move on, either with Balls and Kelly either separated for good, or maybe finally them kind of coming together finally as a couple.
Mm-hmm. And then we have now highlights of Elijah Burke in ECW. Again, another great package of all of his accomplishments. All those Elijah expresses that he's done. Burke has really come up the ranks in ECW. But is it time for them to finally pull the trigger and give him the ECW title, Steve?
I think they may have maybe missed their opportunity by this point. Maybe if you were going to pull the trigger on him, you would have done it back in June after the whole Benoit fiasco, and maybe had him win the title instead of Morrison.
Yeah.
Let Burke run for the summer with the title, see how he could have done. So I think by this point they're they're now committed to Punk as a kind of long-term champion. So I think they've unfortunately missed the window here with Burke.
Yeah, it might be a little too late. I agree with you. You could have had him be Punk. No, because Lashley was still champion at One Night Stand. My bad. Yeah, you could have had Punk. You could have like maybe Punk win, and then Burke wins at SummerSlam. Go tit for tat there. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, it might be a little bit too late here for Elijah Burke, but. He's still in the elimination chase here, as we have Elijah Burke versus Tommy Dreamer, the finals for who becomes the number one contender for the ECW title at No Mercy. Shoulder tackle by Dreamer, clothesline to Burke, tree of woe to Burke, and a clothesline to the outside. Dreamer dives onto Burke, neck breaker to Burke, flapjack by Tommy, clothesline by Burke, handstand elbow to Tommy, and then a DDT by Tommy for the win, which honestly, Steve, I was surprised that they gave the win to Tommy here, even though we know what's going to happen afterwards. But I was actually surprised. I thought they were going to go with the whole time. I thought they were going for Burke versus Punk one more time at No Mercy. But Tommy actually gets the win here. For this portion of what's about to happen, I went 2.25. I thought this matchup was really great, and Tommy put on an excellent showing, and especially boosted up because Tommy actually gets the win as well, which I was surprised about.
Yeah, I sound like a broken record here, but again, 2.25 for me. I thought, these two usually have, again, good chemistry when they face off, and getting a little back and forth. Dreamer hits his spots. Burke kind of takes control. Then Dreamer gets his comeback, and yeah, kind of a shocking win. I think like a lot of people probably thought Burke was going to just win this thing after what we've seen the last 2 weeks, and maybe he was going to get one more shot, even though Punk, kind of beat him. Even though Punk did beat him decisively and Unforgiven, maybe they would give Burke one more chance, but. It was a good win for Dreamer. He really has, been doing a lot of jobs over these last couple of months. So I think it was a good little kind of, feel good win for him. And you figure he would obviously, we, like you said, we know what's going to happen in a second. But at the moment, you're probably thinking, Dreamer Punk could be a pretty fun little brawl. Obviously, Dreamer would do the right thing and put Punk over really strong. So we figured it would be an interesting little match between those two.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a great pay-per-view match clash. Like, make it Extreme Rules as well. Like, make the people give the people a little something extra because Cena's not there. Put forth some extra magic on Punk and Tommy here, but Armando Estrada comes to the ring. He says the elimination chase isn't over. He congratulates Tommy Dreamer, but he says you have one more opponent. He introduces Big Daddy V. V beats down Tommy, a big boot to Tommy, and a Samoan drop and big elbow for the win. So in a surprise turn, V is now the number one contender. Big Daddy V is the number one contender. I went a star. It was just a squash, like for V to go over and become the new number one contender for Punk's ECW title at No Mercy. So after 3 weeks of wrestling everybody, like going through the trials, Tommy Dreamer gets robbed by Armando Estrada and Big Daddy V, and V all of a sudden becomes the new number one contender. I went a star.
Yeah, I want to start too. Again, just, Dreamer pretty much has, this pretty much, like you said, a slaughter Dreamer after having to go through that last match with Burke. And I'm torn about this because, like you said, it makes sense because, obviously, Estrada being the heel GM, he's screwing Dreamer over by putting V in. It's obvious they were building something between V and Punk, as we saw over the last few weeks. But it makes this entire elimination chase just feel like completely irrelevant. It's like you put all this effort in with this elimination, making this elimination chase feel so big, and then at the last match, then you just throw a wrench in it and just throw this one guy in who had not been involved in any of those matches, and just have him win very easily. When at the very start, you could have just started something with Punk and V from the beginning, and just build towards that, and just build the weeks between, to that match. Because now you're basically going into this match on a 5-day build, basically. So it's like, it just makes no sense whatsoever why you would, put all this effort into trying to make this elimination chase, seem special, because, I mean, they really made a big deal out of it over these last 3 weeks. And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's a feel-good moment for Dreamer, and he does get robbed in the end, which, again, makes sense because it's Tommy Dreamer. That's happened to him plenty of times before throughout his career. But again, it just makes the elimination chase just feel like such a, it's like a waste of time, basically. It's like, why waste all that effort these last 3 weeks if you're just going to have Punk face a guy who didn't have to do basically any of the heavy lifting throughout those 3 weeks?
Yeah, and there are two questions that I want to know. Like, I'll give my answer to. Like, did they not trust Tommy to work a pay-per-view match with Punk? And then the second question is, are they're definitely pulling the trigger too early on V, because you're not going to have Punk beat him like that. Like, I don't think Punk's gonna put him over. Like, they're not gonna have V put over Punk like that. He's too big, and he's too big of this monster. But then also, it's like, what are you gonna do now? You're just gonna have V get disqualified because he can't put away Punk and he just gets disqualified now? Like, is Punk gonna win by disqualification but still get destroyed by V? This makes no sense at all. And I think they should have just given us Punk versus Tommy. Whether Tommy wins or loses, it still would have been a great match.
Yeah, I don't think it's that they didn't trust Tommy. I think it's more that they were really getting behind V and they wanted to give him that shot. I mean, like I said, Punk, like you were saying, Punk Dreamer, Extreme Rules. I mean, we know Chicago, even though it is Punk's hometown, it was such a hotbed for ECW that they're gonna, give Tommy the respect he deserves. And again, I think it's. I don't know. It's just a lot of just really bizarre booking these last couple of weeks, and like you said, I get why. I understand why they did. They were clearly building V up to this for this moment, but again, it's like he's probably not going to win the title. What's Punk? How are they going to have Punk? I don't know. It's a lot of just uncertainty when they could have just made it so simple, like we said, and just done Punk Dreamer, have a really fun match, Dreamer puts him over strong, and then if you want to maybe continue the build to V into the next pay-per-view, then you can just do that.
Yeah, like I mean, have he destroy Tommy and like some other guys, and just to get to Punk, you know. This is just like, now what do you do? So, you know, I'll even watch the ECW title match between Punk and V, and I'll give you the feedback on our next episode as well.
Yeah, I don't remember that match. I don't remember that match being that good. So,
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens there. It just seems like, this is a bad decision, and it's like, why? You know, you're gonna make V look bad, or you're going to just have Punk lose, or like, you know, it doesn't make any sense. But again, we'll see what happens at No Mercy. Well, that's going to do it from us here on the ECW shows. But Steve, before we go, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
Yeah, so you can usually find me over on the PTB Pop Experience feed. I got my usual shows over there. Pop Goes to Classics, Making Mount Rushmore, and the Video Jukebox Song of the Day. As well, you can find me over occasionally on the North-South Connection. I appear on Cronoso there. And of course, you can also find me over on the PTB Facebook group with lots of good stuff going on there, including our current tournament, the greatest cartoon of all time. As of this recording, we are still in the playing round, so we still got some kind of these little lower end cartoons to kind of make it into the first round here as we continue on to see what will be named the greatest cartoon of all time.
Yeah, you know, I always look forward to these. When the polls open, I end up just submitting my votes in. A lot of wacky shows, you know, that are way before my time. Even though what I know about, like the characters and stuff, I've never seen one episode of the show. Most of them are just like, you know, spin-offs of the originals and stuff. So it's very interesting. At least, like, you know, it's like, oh, this is the 1979 version, you know, and then they have like an 80s and now a 90s version, you know. So it's all very fun entertainment voting for these wacky cartoons.
Mm-hmm. And considering most of them really, you know, barely lasted one season, so it's just a lot of, you know, weird like one-offs.
Yep. As for me, you can find me mostly on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed. I have this show, and I also have Nation Invasion. We just covered, me and Marcus Fuller just covered the Raw and SmackDown after SummerSlam 2001, where on Raw, Kurt Angle gets revenge on Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Alliance, by spraying them with milk in the milk truck. So it was Milkomania on Raw August 20th and SmackDown August 23rd, 2001. And there was a very good Stone Cold versus Chris Jericho matchup. So, you know, the Stone Cold Kurt Angle feud still goes on as they get set for Unforgiven 2001 here as well. So that's going to do it from us here on Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg. He's Steve Riddle, and we will see you next time.
You're going down, down, down. Just call me smooth. Watch me